Tower Defense Simulator, there are two different kinds of quests. Daily quests, which you have a date to complete, and gives rewards that aren't the greatest, to weekly quests. Extremely difficult quests, which you're given a full week to complete. But even then, a full week is way too easy. So I decided to challenge myself. One of my weekly quests wanted me to deal a total of 4 million damage in a week for the coveted Deluxe Crate, a crate which you can only typically get through spending Robux. But as a level 300 player, I found this quest insultingly easy. Like, only 4 million damage with a week's time? Nah. In hindsight, I should have just done this quest normally. I took it upon myself to complete this quest in 2 days, while also regularly changing my tower loadout, just so I don't use the same loadout over and over again through the entire video, because that'd be pretty easy and boring. The first game was one of the most normal ones, was a loadout consisting of Golden Scout and Accelerator, which, with all things considered, is a pretty typical loadout for a standard high-level TDS player. Something else about this game though was that it was the first of a consistent losing streak I had, which was a combination of me wanting to use strange towers, as well as having some pretty bad internet. Anyways, this game was really easy at the beginning. I struggled so little to where I hadn't even tanked any health. The real problem with this loadout though was that the accelerators plus commander weren't going to be able to kill the Fallen King by themselves on this decently short map. And since I brought Cryomancer instead of another late game tower such as Golden Minigunner, which would have been a lot more useful, the Fallen King got past my defense with 10,000 of its health remaining before using its summon ability, spawning in a horde of Fallens which I wasn't able to defend against in time. But this luckily wasn't all bad. I only missed out around 10,000 damage and a little bit more from the Fallen spawns, meaning for this first game, I dealt around 900,000 damage, which is actually pretty good. So maybe this challenge won't be so hard after all, right? Because that's like 1/4 the challenge. Right? By the way, if you guys like my videos, subscribing would be really cool. I'm trying to get into the TDS content creator program solely because of the free cam mode, which means I'll be able to take really cool cinematic shots that will make my videos a lot cooler. Subscribing is free and you can unsubscribe at any time. Anyways, back to the video. Okay, this game was just really bad. For early game, I decided to use Shotgunner because, you know, it's a tower I don't use often. I felt like experimenting today. The problem? Shotgunner is a tower which kind of depends on you, the player, changing its targeting to make the most of it to spread damage. And since I was recording this late at night to where my brain can properly process the game fully, because my internet was absolutely dog water, I ended up losing. Even after getting a ranger and a golden minigunner, I was struggling on the breakers of all enemies. Which I gotta say, I don't know why people were complaining about early mysteries when they're still mostly around, because breakers are like 10,000 times harder. It's sort of like mystery bosses in fallen mode can spawn like boomers which can like stun your defense, and that sucks I guess, but for early game, breakers absolutely demolish you. It's actually somewhat difficult defending against someone trying to get a good eco. That's while experimenting with like towers like shotgun or something. Also, my internet was actually atrocious. Zombies were teleporting everywhere for most of the entire game. There's this quick zombie that was just like stuck in the enemy entrance to where you could only see his arm just like moving there. His name is Gene, by the way, and he'll be important in Tower Defense Simulator's next event. Yeah. And then like shortly after that, these two blue breakers just like start continuously running there forever. They will also be important for the next TDS event. But yeah, I lost to the shadow boss, and the worst thing about all of that was I only got 20,000 more damage. Like, come on. Alright, for this game, I literally have no idea what I was doing. I don't even know why I decided to use the loadout, but like, it was like midnight, man. Like, give me a break, I was tired. Anyways, I was actually doing somewhat decent until I died to the glitches on wave 26, and again, I dealt with pitiful damage. Only 5k more than last game, but come on, who's counting? Also, meet the new members of the continuously walking in the same place zombies. These are, I can't think of a name. Shadow zombies that are constantly on fire because of Pyromancer. Yeah, that's a real name. They will also be featured in the next TDS event. I'm a prophet, guys, trust me. This game was honestly the most heartbreaking. The map I picked really wasn't the greatest in terms of space, and I was struggling the entire game, but I managed to push through to wave 40, where I died to a full-on guardian that was so close to dying. Just managed to weasel his way past my defense, ending my run. On the bright side though, I did manage to rack up another 900,000 damage, which is still pretty good. Obviously, the worst thing about this game though was that there was another funny glitch zombie. For this game, I wanted to try something a little bit different. This was my first game of day 2, and I wanted to retry yesterday's game, with a few changes. I was going to use a decently short map again, this time being Grass Isles. But this time, instead of using Commander, I would use DJ Booth. Why? Well, even though I basically doubled my DPS with exception to the minigunners was commander, I had to micro all my accelerators which used a lot of my money, which ended up killing me. So by using DJs, it would allow my towers to practically cover the entire map with their range, meaning I wouldn't have to micro any towers. Something else for this game though is that I wanted to use 3 towers that are all pretty effective in the late game, which is why I replaced Golden Soldier with Mortar. Now yes, this may have been a little bit less practical for early game, but for mid to late game, it was so much better. And this was actually the first game I triumphed with this challenge. Wow! This game ended up only giving me 700,000 damage, likely because Grass Isle is one of the few maps without the enemy's beta modifier, which has stronger as zombies for fallen mode, with more health and hence more damage. So that was my first victory of the challenge, and I wanted to continue more throughout the next games. Alright, for this game I wanted to use some of the towers which I felt like I had failed at using previously, that being Ranger and Turret. And for the early game I decided to use Militant, which feels like it's been mostly forgotten. This tower used to get so much backlash before its rework in 2022, had a reload, had poor DPS, no damage ability, wasn't the John Roblox tower, but after being reworked, I felt like nobody really cared about it anymore. It wasn't fun to talk about, it was just kind of boring. Like literally the most recent and notable thing to having this tower was that it was getting the coveted John skin, which was still more than a year ago, man. Militant actually did a pretty decent job at defending though, but it was struggling on Fallen, so I got a turret to help out with that. After maxing my first turret, I started focusing on heavy damage rangers, help out against tankier enemies. And the rest of the game actually went pretty smoothly after that, with no real hiccups. Finally at wave 40, it looked like I was about to die. The Fallen King was more than halfway through the map, but I was luckily able to kill it in the last stretch of the path, so I did a little victory dance. Another pretty easy game. I used Toxic Gunner for early game, a tower which I haven't really used since its big nerf, but now it's actually pretty good, like it actually slows down enemies for once. Now, I know I literally just said that this game was pretty easy, but I wasn't able to kill the bot. I knocked him down to 12,000 health, but he got past my defense. But honestly, I was fine, like I didn't have any complaints because you know what happened? I finally finished my quest, meaning I could finally get my deluxe crate. Alright, here I am in the game, and I just finished my quest, and I'm ready to open my deluxe crate. So, the tower skin I'm most looking forward to is probably like a cowboy skin. I've already gotten the Walter White skins, so probably Noir or Cyberpunk. I would probably rather get like Noir, because I think it's just like a lot cooler. But yeah, let's open it up. I actually don't know what I'm going to get from this. Railgunner Ranger, huh? I didn't even know that was in the deluxe crate, honestly, but alright, I guess. It looks pretty cool. Right now it has that's a cool little gun it actually has from the new Ranger rework. I didn't know it had that. I guess we'll go check this out in game. Alright, I'm in a game now, and here are all the levels for Railgunner Ranger. This earlier levels kind of feel the same without any real notable difference, except for this giant electrical power backpack thing, which looks kind of funny. And for max level, it becomes this dark void purple looking guy, and I gotta say, his unique gun is actually pretty cool. This skin is honestly alright, and I might use it, but I'm probably just gonna stick to the Eclipse Ranger. Anyways, that's the end of the video. If you liked, subscribe maybe. Bye bye.